Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial. And at the end of this week, Saturday, September 14th, 2024, the Navy is commissioning the first new ship to be named New Jersey since our battleship. So we're really excited to be a part of that. The new New Jersey is a Virginia-class fast attack submarine. And so all this week, we're doing videos on submarines. Tonight's video, we're going to talk about one of the most important components of a submarine and how battleships have something sort of similar, but this isn't going to be like last night's Periscope video where we straight up just have more periscopes than a submarine. So one of the most important features of a submarine, the thing that lets a submarine do its whole job and go underwater, is the pressure hull. And battleships are similarly subdivided in the hulls, and that's where we're standing right now. This wall right here that you guys are looking at is the holding bulkhead. It is the interiormost of 5 layers of steel going out towards the hull. These are nominally void spaces. So this first one that we're in, normally not occupied. It's got some storage spaces, like you can still get into it, specifically so you can get down to the voids lower down. This is the backer plate for the armor belt. So this one and the one next to it are normally true voids. And then the 2 spaces out beyond that are our fuel tanks. And most of those fuel tanks, once you have drained all the fuel from them, you are then going to reballast the ship with water to refill those spaces. And when she's reballasted, that's going to keep her sitting at roughly the same water line. Now, that's very critical for battleships. One, it's going to make sure that the armored belt stays appropriately submerged in the water so that we don't float up so high that shells can hit us beneath our armored belt and punch through the soft part of the ship. But 2, it helps keep the ship appropriately buoyant. Keeps her sitting at the right water line. It means that there's still the same amount of air on the inside as there would normally be. And that it means that the ship remains pretty consistently loaded so that if she takes damage, you know how much you're counterflooding, how much buoyancy you have left. And these spaces can be used for counterflooding. If we take torpedo hits in this area that flood some of these spaces that are normally voids, well, it's relatively easy to flood spaces on the other side so that the ship will settle evenly, can still fire her guns and fight the ship as opposed to starting to roll over to this side. And so that's what all of these wing tanks, and we've got other ones in the bottom of the ship, are for. And submarines have a very similar setup of tanks like that. Some of them hold fuel, but many are used to ballast the ship so that she can go underwater. You want to make her negatively buoyant to go down, get it so that she's neutrally buoyant so that she stays at one level, it doesn't just keep going down forever. And you want to be able to blow air into those tanks to force the water out to make her positively buoyant again so she comes back up to the surface. So it's sort of similar to what the battleship is doing with our tanks in that we are letting water in, letting water out, doing fuel, that sort of stuff. But much more vital. And much like it's for the battleship's protection, keeps our armored belt at the right level, means if we start taking damage, the ship stays level and can continue to fight. Flooding a submarine so that she goes underwater is her protection. That's what keeps her stealthy, keeps her out of harm's way. Whereas we have 2 tanks and 3 layers of steel on the bottom and 4 tanks and 5 layers of steel on the sides, submarines tend to just have the 2 tanks. They've got the exterior hull and they've got the pressure hull. And inside of the pressure hull are all the people spaces. That's where the crew lives. And then there's the space outside of that. When I'm giving this tour to kids, I describe a submarine like a hot dog. The meat of the hot dog is the people part of the boat. And then the hot dog bun that wraps around it, that's where all your flooding, all your tanks, all that sort of stuff is. Those are the spaces that take on the water to go down. A couple of years ago, we got to go inside some of these spaces on USS Drum at Battleship Alabama Memorial Park down in Mobile, Alabama. And so you can see that they're actually relatively similar in size to one of the tanks on an Iowa-class battleship. They're kind of curved because submarines are round like that. They've got fairly similar depth. And they're fulfilling a very similar function. It's just submarines crank that up to 11. So, just like the new New Jersey, the old New Jersey has a people tank on this side of the holding bulkhead, and then a series of void spaces to keep us buoyant and fuel tanks to keep us sitting at the right level, ballast tanks and things like that on the exterior hull of the ship. Unlike the submarine, our pressure hull isn't appropriately thick to go down to however many hundreds of feet that they're able to go down to now. World War II era submarines were said to be able to max out around 400 feet. The late war subs, some of the earlier war ones were 200 to 300 feet. And consistently throughout the war, each new class got a little bit thicker pressure hull that let her go a little bit deeper. And that helps the boat survive at that pressure that increases as you go deeper underwater. Battleship doesn't really have anything comparable to that because being able to go underwater doesn't make a ship a submarine. Battleship New Jersey can go underwater at least once. It's being able to come back up afterwards that makes a ship a submarine, or boat a submarine in this case. And the new New Jersey can do that. So, how do you think that the museum should be distinguishing the middleist New Jersey that we're on compared to old New Jersey, the pre-Dreadnought battleship, and new New Jersey, the submarine? Should we refer to her by her hull number, SSN 796? Should we just call her the submarine? I like new New Jersey. New lowercase, new uppercase Jersey. Let us know in the comment section down below what you think is a great way to refer to them as. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, also from a number of other businesses and private individuals like yourselves who really appreciate your support. There's a link in the description below if you'd like to donate to support the museum. You can also support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing so more people find out about us in the channel. Thanks for watching.